Okay, hey everybody, J-Man here with Steve and Sean. We are doing part 2 of our MCU, I guess, like looking back on it. So we're gonna do the best, the most, the worst, or our least favorite, and one that we think is underrated. I'm gonna go through the list of phase 2. So we already did phase 1, so you can check that out. So phase 2 includes Iron Man 3, spoilers, it's the worst, Thor 2, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers: Age of Ultron, and Ant-Man. Those are the ones that are in question right now. I'll start. Iron Man 3 sucks. I'm going to start with the worst. It's garbage. I don't like the storyline. I don't like Pepper Potts. I don't like him destroying the thing at the end. The armor, he cured himself, or he didn't need the chest thing at the end or something. I only saw it once, so I don't remember the whole thing. Mandarin was absolutely ruined to crap. They're going to try to make him better in Shang-Chi. Too late. It's like, he sucks. Then they try to make that short. If you bought the Blu-ray, which I did, there's like that short, which makes it like maybe he wasn't the real Mandarin or he was. I don't care. If it's not in the movie, it didn't happen. It's like they ruined him. It sucks. So, and he's not even in the suit half the time. At one point, Iron Man's flying around. He's controlling the suit. No. That is ass. I don't like it at all. And he's with the kid, and some people think it might be cute or whatever. I don't care. Whatever. And he's got his big what is it? Post-traumatic PTSD or whatever.
PTSD, yeah.
I don't care. It's like, I know they needed something for Iron Man to have, but I don't believe that he would have that. Actually, I don't believe that would happen to that character. I don't think Tony Stark would have that reaction. So I think it sucks. Steve, what's your weakest one?
I mean, it has to be Iron Man 3, right? Like, it is terrible. To sort of like not tread over ground you just stomped on, but like, Shane Black was a really good action writer in the 80s. I don't think much of him as a director. His movies strike me as extremely juvenile for some reason. I don't know why. This feels like a very juvenile effort. I don't believe that, Guy Pearce is a phenomenal performer, I think, and he's just wasted in this. I don't know why even have him. I don't understand his plan. He wants to, like, get the president. Okay, why? Why do you want the president? Oh, he just does. James Badge Dale, I think that's how you say his name, who was the lead in The Pacific, is an awesome actor. Wasted in as a henchman again. Having Pepper Potts take out Guy Pearce again, terrible decision. Iron Man does not beat any villain. That's a fact. Maybe you can say he beats Thanos, but he actually, in his own movies, he never beats anyone. It's just such a sour movie. Like, it just, I actually don't mind the part where the helicopter comes in and blows up his house. Like, that at least has a good action scene. But again, it's done for a very stupid reason. He just challenges the Mandarin to a fight. Like, he seems to have, for a guy who just like risked his life for New York City, which is what he did in Avengers, he seems to have a very, very flippant attitude towards the woman he professes to love in Pepper Potts in giving his address to a terrorist. Like, it's just stupid. It's irredeemable in my opinion. Not just the worst in phase 2, the worst in the MCU.
I think so. Sean, what's your worst? Is it Iron Man 3 or Thor 2? Go.
Oh, it's Iron Man 3, man. Thor 2 is bad, but Thor 2 is like a mirage in that, like, I think back to him, like, it can't be that bad. He's got this cosmic fight at the end, yeah. And like everyone's got mega special effects. When you watch it, it's like it's bad and it's bland.
It's bland. Yeah. But I wasn't angry.
Yeah, no. Iron Man 3, it's like they didn't know what to do with the character, or they didn't know what to do with the story, and it's just a bunch of contrivances thrown at it. Like, they throw in extremists from the comics, and for what? There's guys that spontaneously combust and has nothing to do with the rest of the thing, and then there's the whole I feel like it's one of those, like, smug sort of postmodernist type of things where they're like, oh, let's just do things that people wouldn't expect. But the problem is you're just throwing a bunch of just half-baked ideas at the screen. Like, okay, he's so arrogant that he challenges the Mandarin, and then the Mandarin blows up his house. Like, they're showing how arrogant he is. Okay, so how are you carrying that forward in the story? Like, what's he learning from that? It's like, oh, Iron Man saves all these people from a plane, but then it's revealed that it's just a shell and not really him. And like, what a big reveal, right? But there's nothing emotional to that. Like, it just giving me less of, and the whole thing is this, like, it's like, it's not really the Mandarin, it's really an actor. Like, oh, look how profound we are. Nothing is really gelling. Nothing is really sticking. There's no point to any of it. Like, what's your point? I remember at the time people were like, well, yeah, we're lied to in the media a lot. Like, no crap. And for more examples, please see everything else, right?
Right.
It's trite. It's too on the nose.
Yeah.
You're not really making a point. You're not being clever. You're just throwing stuff at the screen, throwing stuff into the script, and it's the Iron Man movies are pretty bad. Iron Man 2 was a bunch of contrived, half-baked ideas thrown at the screen, and so is this. And I don't know, as a kid, I know, Jay, you have another friend named Sean that loves Iron Man.
Yep.
I collected a lot of Iron Man, and I forced myself to, because I thought Iron Man, the concept is cool. But the comics always tend to be less than what they can be. And for some reason, that's translated into the movies. I don't know. The Iron Man movies are like, what in hell are you doing? And some people, like they adjust their glasses and say, yes, I love Iron Man 3. It's so great. It's like, it's for the postmodern douchebag, hipster douchebag. If you like, I mean, like, I hate to call people out that like Iron Man 3, but if you like Iron Man 3 and stuff like that, it's like, this hipster that think that pretends to see things in it that are great and cool and profound, and it's not. It's bad. It's badly made. It's badly written. It could have been. I could have gone through a few more polishes of the script before coming out. Like, there's stuff in there they can build on, but and then he's teamed up with a kid. Like, all of these things I'm telling you are in this one movie. That there's like extremists, and there's his house blows up, and there's a kid sidekick. It's like, what the hell's going on here, man? Yeah, no, it's bad.
It's bad. Yeah. Okay. I think we beat that up pretty good. Okay. So underrated. I'm going to go with underrated. This is a weird underrated because, I mean, I thought it was awesome, which was Age of Ultron, but I'm always saying it's underrated because everyone seems to take a giant dump on this movie. And I'm sitting in the theater and I'm walking out. I'm like, I just saw like Vision and like Quicksilver and all these guys. Quicksilver's tattooed on my body. So it's like, I'm like, this is pretty freaking awesome. It was the best Hawkeye costume because at least there was purple in the costume and it wasn't just like a black suit or whatever. Teaming up with everybody at the end to fight Ultron bots. I'm like, James Spader, voice of Ultron, he's great. Ultron looks like the real Ultron. A lot of people throw this out as, well, it's not the Age of Ultron, book or story. Well, for further example, see every single film adaptation of any comic, cartoon, anything that's ever happened ever, except for maybe Turtles, the first one. The first live action movie. If it's not TMNT, the first one, then every other thing is not the comic. It's like everyone loves, I was gonna say Infinity Gauntlet, but it's not called that. What's it called? Infinity War. That is not the comic in any way. Like, when we'll get to that in phase 3, it has nothing to do with the comics at all.
Yeah, they take the title, but yeah.
Yeah, it's the title, and it's not even the story of that.
Yeah.
Infinity War, the movie, is Infinity Gauntlet, the comic. Infinity War, the comic, is the Magus creating doppelgangers. Like, so anyways, Age of Ultron is not the comic. But the point of it is that Ultron is there and they're fighting Ultron. Now, it's not what's it called? Like Vision. The thing with Vision and Ultron, like there's no Hank Pym in there, which is a little bit wonky. But no, if somebody said that to me, if somebody's like, well, the creation of Ultron is weird and I don't like what they did with that, and Vision's got the stone, one of the gems in his head and all that. if someone starts saying that to me, I would listen more to their opinion, but they're not really giving it from a comic nerd perspective and saying, well, this is a little bit awkward. They're just like, no, it's not that good or whatever. And I don't know why it's not that good. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty awesome. So that's my pick for underrated, only because it's like people are saying it's bad, but I thought it was awesome. Steve, what do you think is the most underrated?
Yeah, it's Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Like, it's obvious because like everyone pisses on this movie and I don't understand why. Like, I've heard, yeah, the comic thing for sure. I've read Age of Ultron. It's not that good. I'm glad it wasn't like the comic.
Right.
You know, I've heard, I think a mutual friend of ours said it's more like Afternoon of Ultron, not Age of Ultron, which I get what that point is, but I took it to always mean we're not going to get to the Age of Ultron. That's his goal. That's what he's trying to get to is
right.
Ultron, right? Like that's his plan. You know, and people were like, Ultron was too jokey. Well, I believe they took like Iron Man's like mind print, like they did in the comic. They took Hank Pym's to create Ultron, right? I think that was sort of the inclination is they took like, you know, an aspect of Iron Man. Well, Iron Man, sorry all Iron Man fans of the MCU, but he's a wisecracking ass. And Ultron was a wisecracking ass. Mm-hmm. So that makes sense to me. So I wasn't mad at that. I will say that I would have liked to have seen Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch just introduced in a better way. I think they were more treated like afterthoughts. And if anyone knows, like, especially like, I'm not sure if it's Silver Age or Bronze Age Avengers, but when Quicksilver or Scarlet Witch are members of the Avengers, they're awesome. They're like really awesome characters. I really enjoyed Vision. Like Vision was really like realized very well. I like the thing with the chopping wood, like just a conversation between Captain America and Iron Man. I thought that was great.
That was good.
I think it had the same scope. Maybe it didn't. It lacked the you know, the novelty of the first film or the epicness of the last film. But that's not a reason to like crap all over the movie. It's still a damn good effort. You still get everything you would want from one of these movies, and I enjoyed pretty much all of it. Like it's another movie I could just sit down and start watching like halfway through and watch to the end. So,
Sean, underrated?
Oh, it's Age of Ultron. Like, yeah, I'm as perplexed as everyone else as to why everyone dumps on this movie so much. When I first saw it, I didn't like Scarlet Witch's weird goal in the beginning. Like that sets off the entire thing. But I've grown used to that. You know, especially when she unleashes Hulk on that city. Like, is she really actually a villain then? Because like Hulk, like they don't say it, but Hulk kills a lot of people in that city, right? So, but beyond all that, I think it's probably the best Iron Man movie because it's Iron Man versus Iron Man. It's Tony Stark versus like his worst. It's like his not really his worst, but his most like misguided. You know, because that's what Ultron is. I like that they incorporated some Ultron things in there, like the Red Cloak Ultron, which was how he was introduced in the comics. He was a Red Cloak guy, and then he was revealed to be Ultron. I liked all the superhero stuff. It's cool because it's Joss Whedon just throwing everything in the kitchen sink. It's like, you know, you've got Hulkbuster versus Hulk and all that. That's awesome. You know, and I love the farmhouse scene. Like they didn't know what to like. You know, to your point from last time, Jason. Like, you know, Hawkeye's in there, and it's not really Hawkeye, and because he doesn't have the costume and everything. And one wonders why he was even in Avengers. And they probably asked us like, why are we putting Hawkeye in the Avengers? But in part two, it seems like someone watched the Justice League cartoon and how they treated Green Arrow and that thing. He was the human conscience, and so I love that whole farmhouse thing. It's probably the best part of the whole movie. It's like it settles down and you get to know the characters a bit better, and you know Hawkeye a bit better too with his family and everything, and what they're fighting for. Mm-hmm. It's like this family unit, this sort of idea of humanity is what they're fighting for. That's the whole rooted point of that movie. And the Ultron's belief is that humanity is just a bunch of killers and nonsense. And at one point, Captain America says, we're fighting whether Ultron is right or something like that. There's a scene where he says that, and like I think the truck chase or something. And then later on, I love when Hawkeye is giving the big pep talk to Scarlet Witch. He's like, I've got a bow and arrow. This doesn't make any sense, right? But yeah, no, it's awesome. I think people were just overwhelmed by it. Even Joss Whedon himself seemed to be overwhelmed by it. Like he quit doing big ass movies like that after that film. I just think people are like they expected something else. I don't take a lot of stock in them using comic book titles because they do that all the time. Civil War is not Civil War from the comics, right?
Yeah.
They do that all the time. I don't really care. Like I'm surprised that people like you guys are saying that people were upset it's not Age of Ultron. Like, are you stupid? Like, did you have you been watching these movies? It's like it's not gonna be the actual adaptation of Age of Ultron from the comics. They're just using that, that title. But
they do X-Men all the time. There's no Hellfire Club and Dark Phoenix. There's no what was the other one that Days
Kitty
of Future
Pryde
Past?
does not. Kitty Pryde does not go back in Days of Future Past. So it isn't Wolverine.
No.
So I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, it's awesome.
Yeah. It's all. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. To me, Age of Ultron is the best Avengers movie. Mm-hmm. I don't count Infinity War and Endgame as Avengers movies.
No.
I count those as like MCU annuals movie. Like if it was like a comic,
I still see them as Avengers movies. To me, there's 4 Avengers movies.
Yeah, we can talk about that. There's just too many people in Endgame for it to be Avengers or whatever. It's like
MCU universe.
I see what you mean. It's Marvel Universe movies.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, Marvel Universe. It's a Marvel Universe movie. It's
like Ultron was like that too because they have like War Machine come in at the end and stuff, which is another awesome thing, right?
Yeah, that is awesome. But he's a West Coaster, so he's a
West Coaster. Yeah.
Okay, so my favorite movie of Phase 2 is Ant-Man. I don't know. This is outrageous that I'm not saying Captain America, but like, okay, Ant-Man. Prior to seeing the Ant-Man movie, I think I had read, let me think here, about 0 Ant-Man comics ever in my life. And like, I never read any Ant-Man, so I didn't give a crap. And I'd read some Guardians of the Galaxy, so I know everyone is going to be talking about Guardians and all that. And I did know Guardians, not really these Guardians. I know the Marvel 2-in-1 Guardians, which is the original, whatever. That's
the original guys. Martin X and Van Zastro and all that. Yeah.
Obviously, I know who Ant-Man was, and I've read Hank Pym stories in when he's teamed up in other books, not his own book. But I was blown away at how awesome it was. It was a good like family entertainment, a lot of fun. I had a smile on the whole time I was watching it. I love the effects. It was so inventive, fighting in a briefcase. I don't know. That's a magical movie to me for some reason, where I'm just like, this is just a really awesome movie that I think anyone can watch and relate to. Paul Rudd having the daughter and trying to, like do right and everything. I think it's the most relatable MCU movie there is, where, anybody can just throw it in. My mom, who is not going to watch Infinity War, or whatever. If I tell her, hey, watch Ant-Man, oh yeah, sure. No, trust me. Like Ant-Man, Captain America, First Avenger, they're these ones where it's like, don't worry if you don't know anything about comic books or whatever. Ant-Man is a fun, family, entertaining movie. Anyone can watch. You can watch with your kids. I don't know. I really like Ant-Man a lot. I think he's a great character. The suit looks sick. Yellow Jacket looks super sick. Like, I don't know if I was going to be a hero, I want the Ant-Man suit or whatever. It seems to be the most badass costume to me. So I like Ant-Man. I mean, and we're talking what's in this thing? Guardians, Winter Soldier. I don't know. It's Ant-Man for me. Steve, what's yours?
It's Guardians.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know jack about the Guardians. I had only heard of one of the Guardians before I walked in there, which was Rocket.
Yeah.
Which I probably found out through a video game, right? I didn't even know that through a comic book. Now, when I look at this shelf here, I got like all of the Guardian like Funko Pops. I got Pez. I got a Rocket Raccoon keychain, Rocket Raccoon cup. I got the dancing group like thing where like that was my out of nowhere. Like yours was Ant-Man, mine was Guardians. I didn't think Guardians would be very good at all. There's such an underdog part of it, and I'm a sucker for good and underdog movies, and it's a really good underdog movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason for the Guardians to work, right? There's no reason for that at all, but they do. I really like. It's probably like one of the more adult of the MCU movies where like you'll hear cursing, you'll see like Star Wars give them the finger, like give the Nova Corps the finger, like all that, which was like like after all the PG stuff, that was crazy. I was like, what, really? But it works in that movie. It's so offbeat, I guess. Love Lee Pace as Ronan, like he's really good. I always thought Ronan the Accuser was a cool name, but I didn't like connect it with the character. I think he did a great job. Karen Gillan was like the unsung hero of Guardians, and that's probably why she got a bigger part in the sequel on that. Like she's super good as Nebula, as the Forgotten Daughter and all that. And that like rivalry Gamora is pretty cool. I don't know. I like the soundtrack, right? It's an 80s soundtrack and stuff. And it just works. At Nova Corps, I love the final battle when they build the net with their individual ships and trying to stop them from going in. The Collector, I really like. This is, I think, the first movie where we got some idea about the Infinity Stones. Like we actually got an explanation. Because we'd seen the Tesseract and all that in Phase 1, but it didn't really start to connect for people who maybe didn't guess what they were until this movie, right? So I don't know. It was a really fun, really offbeat movie. Had a smile on my face from beginning to end. And it's one of those ones that I fondly look back on for the MCU movies.
Sean, Guardians?
It's Guardians, man. It depends on what kind of thing you like. Because they made a lot of good stuff in this phase. They started with the worst two.
Yeah.
Which is like, I think I'm looking at this timeline, like Ant-Man 3 and Thor the Dark World are like the same year, and then Winter Soldier and Guardians are 2014, then 2015 is Age of Ultron and Ant-Man. Ant-Man's cool. It's fun. I think a great double bill is Ant-Man and Shazam. They got the same whimsical fun nature to them. And they're clever as well. And Winter Soldier is cool. I love the conceit. It's good. I don't know how many times I'd watch it over Guardians because it's got that cool 70s conspiracy vibe and everything. That's cool. But like, I want creatures and monsters, and I got my Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it's a great getting a band together kind of movie. And I thought after, like, spoilers for the next phase, I really liked the second movie, but I thought that was going to ruin any movie since after that. It's like they won't know what to do with these characters, but I really love all the characters in it. It did the impossible in that it brought characters that nobody knew to the fore, and now everyone knows Groot and Rocket and all that stuff, and Star-Lord. I read the 90s Guardians, of course, those were the 60s Guardians, like Vance Astro and all those guys, right? And the original Yondu. I liked what they did with Yondu. I mean, honestly, they can't really go with the native Indian blue guy. This is still memorable, like, with what's his name? I can't remember his name.
Michael Rooker.
Yeah, he's awesome, man.
He's awesome.
And you infuse him with a new personality that everyone seemed to enjoy. It's just, and the ending's cool too. It's action packed and everything, and they make that siege with just the small team going in, and they have that big ass gun that's like strapped and everything, and it's just so cool. And Ronan the Accuser, I know people made fun of him as being a bland villain, but he's a villain. I don't know what you want him to do. Like, he looks great. He looks like the guy from the comics. And even like the end, I should hate the ending with the cosmic dance and all that, but like, it's fun. It is that character, and then it shows like the team uniting as one to defeat, like, Ronan. It's just a great feel-good movie. This was my top Marvel movie overall for a while. So it's gonna be my top one for this phase.
Yeah, I love Guardians of the Galaxy also. I had a smile on my face. Everything you guys have said. I don't know. It's weird. It's like if I have to rank all of the MCU movies, Guardians would rank super high and probably rank over Ant-Man for, which is weird, even though I'm saying I like Ant-Man the best.
Yeah.
It's like Guardians is awesome. And it's 10 out of 10. It's one of the best MCU movies, period. I also like Volume 2. I rewatched Volume 2.
Yeah.
And I liked it.
The challenge? Yeah.
I took the MR challenge. And I really liked it a lot. I liked it the first time.
Yeah, I just want to say Guardians. So I read the I think it's the 2008 run that it was based on.
Yeah, I have it.
I think it was like 25 issues or something.
Yeah.
Look, I didn't really like that comic. I think it was just wrapping up loose ends from other parts of the Marvel universe after that whole invasion storyline or whatever the hell it was called, Annihilation. I think that's what it was called. And all they were doing is just running around space, repairing holes in space. Where the movie is better, they're going to streamline it more and make it more likable.
That's
they're basically in the movie they're like the A-team in space, which is great. Yeah. That's what they should be, So yeah, so I think the movie's better than the comic.
I like the repairing.
That's okay.
I did too. It was fun. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, no, Guardians is awesome. Star Lord's like in my top like 5 favorite MCU characters. I bought every Star Lord thing. I have the Lego keychain. I even bought the Lego the ship.
Yeah.
Which
is great. Yeah.
Which is wicked. Yeah. Looks wise, it looks awesome. Everything is really cool. So it's just that something like just Ant-Man for some reason, which is weird that Ant-Man unlocked my imagination more than Guardians did. Like we're all used to Star Wars and Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon and all that. So like Guardians isn't anything that's like new to us in the sense of discovering something. And neither is Ant-Man, obviously, because we've seen Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and whatever, all these.
Yeah. But there's not enough of those kinds of things.
There's not enough. Yeah. Ant-Man is like a weird thing. And you wouldn't think that he'd be as formidable like as he actually really is. I mean, he's pretty awesome.
Defeats Falcon, so
but like I mean because somebody's like, let's do Ant-Man. It's like, oh, Ant-Man, really? That's my thing. And then they're like, well, what can we do with Ant-Man? And they literally thought of every little thing, no pun intended, every little thing they can do with Ant-Man, they tried to do, I like that.
Yeah.
So
but spoilers for the next phase, like it seems like a flash and like I know they're making a part 3. And I mean, I hope it'll be good. I really don't like the second one. Like that movie seems forced and trite, and it's just like there's no reason to make that. But anyway, that's another phase. But yeah,
I rewatched it. I like it.
But why? What do you like from that?
I don't know. It's fun.
Walton Goggins or what?
Ghost is sick. Also, side note, we play Marvel Strike Force, Steven and I. And the Ant-Man team is awesome and wicked. You start playing that game like this is so sick because they shrink down and then stature grows big and punches the whole screen. You're like, this is pretty cool.
The animation is cool, but I think Ant-Man. The one thing I remember about that is, strangely enough, it has the best CGI for de-aging I've ever seen.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You remember when Hank Pym, like Michael Douglas is in it to start, and I'm like, did they take footage from like Basic Instinct or something? Like he looks like way younger, right? Ant-Man is a very fun movie. It's very like it's great because it's a heist movie, and I love heist movies, as you guys know. I love that whole heist element. Like he's breaking into his own laboratory, and like he's breaking even into Pym's like house to steal that suit. Like I like all that. It's one of those ones where the comedy of the secondary characters, that can be a make or break thing. It works.
It works.
I don't know why. I really like those 3 guys together. his, Michael Pena and the other two dudes.
Yeah.
I don't know why, right? But they just work together so well. And it makes sense that they would be with Scott Lang, right? Like, that movie is well cast. Like, all the casting is good. All the characters are well realized.
And like Cassie Lang, like the daughter.
Cassie Lang.
She's
Yeah,
the damn
cute.
best kid ever.
Yeah.
Because like she's like, I want to be your like partner and everything. You're like, oh my God. I don't know if that was in part 1 or part 2, but she's like, I want to be your like, she's like, well, you need a partner to look after you. And then he's like thinking it's Wasp, but she's like, no, I mean me. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the best. And she becomes Stature, who's great. Stature's great in the
later on, yeah.
But anyways,
Winter Soldier
yeah,
was a really well-made movie, but
awesome.
It was a movie that I always felt a little cold about because it was so cynical, and I think it needed to be, because it was trying to say to Captain America, basically, this isn't your America anymore. This isn't your, this isn't your time period. Like, there's a whole new set of things that you have to concern about, but it wasn't very fun. It was very grim to me. Like, Captain America takes way too many hits in that thing. It's bad enough that now the love of his life is like 90, right? And he can't do anything. They try and say him and Sharon Carter are hooking up, but like, whatever. That doesn't really work. Like, Nick Fury's gone. His mentor's basically gone. The guy who like, gave him his bearings is gone. He's like, the only really positive thing I can say about it is they did something with Black Widow. Like, they made her really good in this movie.
That was the first time where I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I like her. And I really like Falcon.
Yeah.
Like, what's the guy's name? Oh, I forgot his name.
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
Oh, he is so good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this television series, really. I like Falcon. I think he's pretty badass. I like his look, and he's not a guy that I cared that much about really in the comics. Like, he was okay, but I like the way he looks. I like his character, and he's all like gung-ho, like, yeah, well, I want to like help out and do something. Anytime there's a positive character who wants to help out and do things, like, that's like automatically I'm pumped up for that. Like, that's how you get me in there. You're like, yeah, I want to help out people. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So yeah, Winter Soldier is a very well-crafted, made movie. Everything is awesome. Batroc Reaper in the beginning, that's weird.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
So it's a very well-made, good movie. But and if someone says Winter Soldier is my favorite movie, I'm like, yeah, no worries, right? But it's like, I'm always thinking, am I going to throw that in? Honestly, Guardians, Ant-Man, that's the two that get thrown in the most. I think I've only seen Winter Soldier twice. Yeah, actually. It's just because, I don't equate that with like having a good time. Like, hey, it's Saturday afternoon, it's raining, or you're bored, and you're like, all right, let's throw something in. You're gonna throw in Guardians or something, right? You're not gonna throw in Winter Soldier. It's like, oh, why are we watching that? Like, feel like you'd want to, and then the Endgame movies are too long and big to, you don't have 10 hours to watch them.
It still has a classic moment, like that whole that elevator sequence, and they revisited it in Endgame. So yeah,
that was awesome.
That was a great scene.
I love how they diffused that in Endgame, where he's like, Hail Hydra, and they're like, okay,
Hail Hydra,
that was great. I was so excited for that in the theater. I was like, oh, he's gonna beat them all up, he knows. And then he's like, why would he bother fighting them? It's like, just pretend you're with them. It's like, oh, okay,
I think everyone clapped when in the audience when he did that, because it's like mega clever. It's like, yeah,
it was very clever.
5 minutes. So yeah, I mean, this is a good phase. Yeah, Iron Man 3 is piss, and Thor 2 is like, but the rest of it, like, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah,
like, this is where now we're getting into
the
hundreds of millions.
They've shaken off some of their kinks, and they're going full throttle now.
It's really
high. Pretty much like, if we're looking ahead into phase 3, I mean, there's quite a lot of good ones.
Yeah, like, that's tough. Phase 3 is the toughest one.
It's going to be like, oh, this is good, pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Like, so yeah, phase 2 is really good. Those 4 movies alone, even if it just ended there, you'd still be like, wow, this is like a pretty killer.
Yeah, I got like maybe 2 worst here, but yeah. Anyway,
there's 2 really bad ones.
What in
phase 2?
Phase 3? Oh,
man. Phase 3.
Oh, phase 3. Yeah. Well,
I won't tell you what they are.
well,
No, you'll tell us
man, we're gonna have an argument on phase 3. I know.
Phase 3.
I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue on phase 3 because I'm going to lose subscribers. And anytime I do lose subscribers for this, so I'm not going to argue on it. I'm just going to say, as a movie, this is what it is, and that's what it is. So we're just going to leave it at that. Because I already know what the worst ones are. Yeah, Steve?
I'd like to point out, though, this is the first one where Sean and I agreed on all 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
this
so
was
did
an
I.
easy one, though. That's the thing. Like, it's obvious when you look at the list. It's like, oh yeah, that's the most underrated. That's the worst one. That's the best one. Like, yeah.
And Guardians is the best one. But I like Ant-Man, and I'm going to stick with my buddy Ant-Man.
Well, it's your favorite one, right?
Yes.
So
yeah.
I like Ant-Man, but I like Guardians too. This was a really tough one. I wish Ant-Man and Guardians weren't in the same phase. And that would be a lot easier because it's like, and same with phase 3, there's so many good ones that it's going to be hard to say like what's the best what Endgame.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Infinity War.
I can't. Yeah. Anyway,
I'm going to pick one because I do have one that's a personal favorite of mine, but it has something to do, and Steve knows what it is. It has something to do with the MCU. It has to do with like just outside factors.
Yeah.
And it has to do with Marvel Comics and Jack Kirby. So it's, and now,
hell, I know.
Now Sean knows.
Yeah. I knew. Yeah.
Anyone who knows anything about Marvel knows my favorite. It's my favorite Marvel movie.
Well, I was thinking phase 3, guys. Like, I'm really going to struggle for underrated. I have picked one, but it's a little bit, like, because I honestly believe of all of them, phase 3 is the one where generally what everyone says is what I agree with. Right? I don't deviate too much in phase 3. Everyone loves Iron Man in phase 1 and 2, and I'm like, the best one is part 1, like, and they get progressively worse, right? But people love Iron Man 3.
I'm looking at one in phase 3 that people dump on for no freaking reason. So, but I won't reveal what it is.
Yeah, next week bring it up.
Guys, you got to show up next Friday to see how this pans out. I'm confused now. All right, guys, we're going to end it off there. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next Friday for phase 3.